Usually I don't bring myself quite as well. So my topic comes to you today because I make terrible playlists. Just full disclosure. So it happened one day, many moons ago, I was responsible for hiring a bunch of people into a rather generic job. And so I would get resumes about a foot high on my desk about every day. And it took me, maybe a minute I had to go through each one. So it's really about first impressions. So for those of you, by the way, who are going to be, applying to jobs fairly soon, just keep that in mind. First impressions are really important. So I'm going through a stack one day, and I'm thinking, oh my God, dear Lord, what is that person doing? Ugh, and I'm getting really, really frustrated, and I just decided to take a break because nobody in that 12-inch high pool seemed to be qualified. So I went to lunch at my favorite cafe just outside of Tempe, Arizona. I was in Tempe at the time. I didn't actually travel from here, just to make that clear. And I'm waiting for my avocado poblano wrap, and I found myself kind of, tapping my feet and singing to myself in my head what was playing on the radio, which is that I'm walking on sunshine, well, you know that one? And don't it feel good? I'm thinking, yeah, this actually feels pretty good. And it made me think about my environment. Like, what was I surrounding myself with? Why am I so zen now, whereas before I was just so upset? And I'm thinking back, like, well, okay, the playlist that I had in my office at the time, it had a dangerous amount of 9-inch nails, coupled with some very early steampunk, and I'm thinking, this is probably what was making me angry. Let's do an experiment. So I walk back to my office, and I go in, and I play some happy stuff, because I actually do have happy things. I don't have only 9-inch nails. So I'm playing some happy things, and I decided to go through the next 6 inches of resumes. And lo and behold, there are a lot of great applicants. So then I decided to go back to that previous list that I had basically just thrown into the trash. And yeah, there are a lot of really qualified applicants in that, bucket too. What the heck happened? Why was I so biased against these poor individuals who just wanted to be paid $6 an hour for menial work? Well, it's music, man. I mean, music, when experienced responsibly, can be very, very amazing. What it does to your brain, for example. When you're listening to music that you really like, that's really good. It can increase your dopamine levels. It basically activates those pleasure centers in your brain, those reward, regions in your mind. The same regions, by the way, that actually are activated by cocaine and amphetamines, which I do not recommend that anybody take, when you can listen to music and get the same basic effect. It's a natural high, like food and sex. The things that we're supposed to be rewarded for in order to survive and propagate the species. This is what music does for us. And it is amazing. Our brains look alive in PET scans and MRIs and other weird things that we do to our bodies so we can see the images. I mean, it's not just the right brain, which a lot of times we tend to associate music with kind of the right brain response. It's the left brain too. It's all over the place. Rhythm, especially, lights all sorts of areas of the brain just on fire. I mean, you are alive up there in that black box between those ears. But it's not just that. You get your heart rate increasing. I mean, think about that. We often think, oh yeah, your heart rate is increasing. The muscles are actually contracting faster. Your blood pressure starts going. Your blood is actually surging through your body everywhere, by the way. And your skin is actually conducting more electricity. When you think about that, those chills that sometimes you might experience, those are real. Those are actually real things. This should start sounding kind of familiar, right? Your heart is racing. Sweat is an unfortunate consequence of this as well. But, you're getting chills. All of this stuff is real physiological responses to music. And unfortunately, it looks a heck of a lot like sex. What does that do to us? Well, sometimes we sort of mistake those signals and make it really is sexual responses. Funny thing happened. Yesterday, we were at a very respected establishment. And we saw this very nice young man who was listening to some interesting music, and he gets up, approaches this nice lady at a table, and if you would like to hear about what happened, because I am out of time apparently, I would love to tell you about it more in the bigger version of the TED Talk. Thank you.